In this video we're talking all things bump and run, low running chip shot. I'm here at Prince's to talk about why you need this shot in the lock, some technique ideas that are going to help you keep the ball down and run it close, and if you stick around to the end I'm going to talk to you about a drill I use to help develop my touch around the greens. So let's get straight into it. So the basic chip and run is a shot that I think all golfers need, from scratch players to high handicappers to beginners, need in their short game toolbox. This is a shot which is super low risk, really easy to execute, really difficult to get wrong. When I give short game lessons to new players and to players that maybe are sort of mid to high handicaps, when I show them this shot, they're sort of quite surprised that how easy it is and how easy it is to get the ball close to the hole. When we watch golf on TV, we're seeing players using lob wedges, but they're not playing the same type of courses we play in the UK. So they on a different type of grass. It's very sticky, it's very grabby, so they're hitting shots which fly most of the way and with lots and lots of spin, which is fine in those conditions, but in the UK it's usually much firmer, the grass isn't as grabby, and we can get away with running the ball most of the way there. Anytime I've missed the green and I arrive at my ball, generally the first thing I think is, can I play a bump and run? Can I play a low shot that carries about a third of the way there and then runs the next 2/3? So when I'm playing links golf, there's generally we can do a lot more chip and runs than if we're playing parkland golf, and if we miss the green short, then generally we can use a low shot to chip and run it on. This shot obviously doesn't work if there's something to go over, either a bunker, a ridge or a ditch or whatever, but this is an excellent shot to play if you've got nothing to carry in order to get the ball close to the hole. So for example, this shot here, I've got about 3 or 4 yards of fringe to get through before the ball gets on the green. There's no real point in me trying to fly the ball all the way to the hole, because if I get that shot wrong, I might chunk it and still not be on the green, or I have to make a swing that's so long that if I thin the ball, I might end up 20 yards on the other side of the green. One of the things we have to do is try and minimize risk when trying to sort of put together a good round of golf. So if there's ever a chance to use less loft, a shorter swing, and just run the ball there, then that's what we should be doing. If we move into some common mistakes that I see when people playing the bump and run, the first thing is a player using too much loft. So they've seen Jordan Spieth drive one in low with a lob wedge and think that they can do the same thing. So in order for me to hit a lob wedge low and chase it up there, I've got to get the ball so far back in my stance, I've got to get my hands so far ahead of the ball, and I need a really steep angle of attack. That might work some of the time and it's not wrong, but it's high risk. So I like to see people put the lob wedge away and get the 9-iron out. Another thing that I see when teaching the bump and run to players out on the course is they stand too wide and too far away, a bit like if they were hitting more like a full shot or a pitch shot. Now the problem with doing this is it makes the club travel too shallow, which means there's a good chance you're going to hit the ground behind the ball, which is going to slow the club down and mean that you don't get the ball all the way there. The third thing that I really don't like to see is a swing with too much acceleration, so a short back swing and a jerky sort of acceleration into the ball. As golfers, there's an idea that we need to always accelerate into the ball to hit good shots, and that's just not true. It's false. We don't need to do that. If you're one of those players who either uses too much loft, doesn't set up correctly, and has a short backswing, then by watching this video and implementing these tips, we're really going to start to see some improvements. Oh hey, you're still here. Thank you. So most of you guys watching this are not subscribers, and although the few subscribers that are watching this, thank you very much for being here, I could really do with the help. If you subscribe, like and comment, even if you think I'm stupid, that really boosts the engagement. It helps get this video out to more people and helps me grow. So anything you can do to help, that'd be great. If we just move into how we're going to set up to the ball, so I've got a 9-iron here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand with my heels about 1 club head width apart, with the ball center to back of my stance. Now I'm going to address the ball with the heel of the club up in the air and the toe down, and I really want to get on top of the ball, stand nice and close with a really upright shaft and at the bottom of the grip. From here I'm much closer to the ball, my arms are pretty straight, and from here I'm almost in a putting stance to where I can make a sort of putting stroke and just nudge the ball forwards. just chased that a bit too far, carried it a bit far, but that was a pretty good strike. I don't mind if a player just plays this centre or even slightly forward in the stance, because we're using a club with less loft. The ball could be on the back foot and the ball can be off the front foot, and we're still going to get this sort of a very, very similar outcome. We just want to make sure that we're down the shaft, almost fingertips on the steel at the bottom of the grip. We're stood right on top of the ball, heel up in the air, nice high hands, and then nice putting stroke to chase it out there. Something else that I like to see in the bump and run is a golfer's weight sort of centered to forwards. We never want that weight to move onto the back foot when we're chipping, so there should be no weight transfer to back to forwards. It should just be center to forwards, or even just start forwards and stay there. By moving our weight forwards, that naturally makes the low point of our swing, you know, ahead of the golf ball, which is going to allow us to hit the ball before the ground. The worst thing you can do with these shots is hit the ground before the ball. You can actually thin this shot, deliberately not hit the bottom of the ball, hit halfway up the ball, and still get quite a good outcome. The ball obviously is not going to travel quite as far, but when we're hitting a bump and run, we really don't really want to hit the ground, and we especially don't want to hit the ground before the ball. So by moving our weight forwards, either as we swing or just starting forwards and staying forwards, that's going to allow us to get that good contact. Moving on to some in-swing ideas. Now this stroke is so short, there isn't really much time for much wrist hinge, so we're going to play this with a fairly firm wrist. I never really like to tell people to lock their wrists, but on the bump and run, this is as close to locking the wrists as we're ever going to get to. Because we're trying to hit this shot low, I'm okay with the club face being closed on the way back. We don't really want to open the club face up, which is the advice I gave in the basic lofted chip shot video that I've done. So if you've not seen that, go check that out. But what is similar to that basic lofted chip is throughout the stroke, I'm not afraid of moving forwards to my front foot and then finishing nice and tall. I'm not staying down. I really don't like staying down or getting low. The best chippers in the world they're almost always moving. It's very dynamic. They're into the setup, on top of the ball, high hands, down the grip, and then them constantly moving forward, standing up, releasing the club. We don't necessarily need to keep our hands ahead. We can let that club pass, but you have to be aware that that might make your distance control a bit harder if we are releasing the club, because this is a 9-iron and the ball will jump off the face a bit more than it would a lob wedge. But this shot really is just about the address position. A good setup gets us 95% of the way there to a good shot with a bump and run. The stroke is so short that it's actually quite hard to get wrong, which is why I like it so much for beginners and high handicap players, because it really is difficult to mess this up. Something we can do to make this even easier for those people who still maybe aren't quite comfortable with this shot is actually put the 9-iron away and get the hybrid out. So the hybrid, this really is basically just putting. The reason we'd use the hybrid is because it's got such low loft, it's going to really behave like a putt. However, it has just enough loft for the ball to sort of not get caught up in this bit of fringe. It's just going to loft the ball up to bounce through this to then run out to the flag. But it really is a very similar setup. So I'm right down the bottom of the grip, I'm nice and tall, I've got the shaft up, I've got the heel in the air, narrow stance, and this really is a putting stroke, no real risks involved. And that just nudges the ball, gets the ball through that bit of fringe, and then just allows the ball to run up to the hole. So all the shots I've hit so far would be really, really acceptable shots on the course or in a competition. When I'm using a lob wedge, I would probably hit 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 rubbish shots, terrible shots, which I'm definitely not going to get up and down. When we've missed the green in these situations, the first thing to think about is just don't take more than 3. Yes, I want to get up and down, and yes, I want to save par, but the worst thing I can do here is hit a shot that's going to not allow me to get down in 3. It'd be nice to get down in 2, but 3 should be the worst. It shouldn't be a case of trying to save 3 and maybe making 4. The drill I really like when working on the bump and run actually involves 3 different clubs, so lob, wedge, 9-iron and hybrid. So what you're going to do is you're just going to get 3 balls with your 3 clubs, and you're going to hit all 3 to the flag, and you're just going to try and prove to yourself why do we use the bump and run instead of the lob, the lob shot. So with a lob wedge, I've got a 60 degree here. I'm going to land the ball probably 3/4 of the way there, and then it's going to spin and stop. I've played that quite well. I'm quite happy with that shot. I've left myself probably 7 or 8 feet there. Not great, but not too bad. I then move into my 9-iron, so I'm going to go down the grip, narrow stance, heel of the club in the air, weight forwards, and just nudge it forwards. So I've managed to run that just inside where I hit the lob shot. Lob shot wasn't bad, but that one's a little bit better. And then if I move into the hybrid, hands at the bottom of the grip, upright shaft, heel in the air, toe down, just nudge it forwards. It's got a chance. Yeah, that was good. That's obviously worked out really well. And you can really see, hopefully you're getting the message here, the hybrid bump and run is the easiest shot to play when we're next to the green. The next easiest shot to play is the 9-iron bump and run. And then the hardest shot to play well round the greens is that lob wedge, the lofted chip. The lofted chip requires a near perfect strike, a near perfect landing spot and the right spin. The bump and run, I don't need a good strike to get the ball close. I don't need good spin to get the ball close. I don't need a good lie to get the ball close. Lowering your handicap, lowering your scores is all about putting together good holes with few mistakes. Using the hybrid or the 9-iron to bump and run as often as you can is going to allow you to make more and more safe pars and bogeys in less doubles. And that's what we've got to do if we're going to be good players.